forum. Hope this time is going to be educational and informative for everyone involved. A quick note, we are recording the event tonight. So if you are here and would prefer not to be recorded, this would be a good time to go ahead and depart. We will provide access to the video at a later time so you can see and hear all of the questions and answers given tonight. I'm going to try and do as little talking as possible, so I'm going to start that now by giving each of the candidates a moment to introduce themselves.
Good evening, Winterpock Elementary parents. My name is Shawan Nicole Mason. I'm the Democratic candidate for the Matoaca District Board of Supervisors. I am actually from Matoaca, born and raised here. I graduated from Matoaca High School in 1993. I went to UVA, graduated from there in 1997. Went to the University of Richmond. I graduated from there in 2001. Also obtained my Juris Doctorate and a Master's in Social Work. And from there, I've just been working public service. I have a law firm in which I specialize in criminal and family law. And most of my practice is a court-appointed work. So giving back to me is something that's important. I love Matoaca. I'm here because I feel that I could bring a lot of different ideas to the area, and I'm very passionate about what I do. And so I do thank you for the opportunity of being here, and I look forward to your questions.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Denisha Nicole Potts. I am the Democratic candidate or endorsed candidate for the Matoaca District School Board seat. I am a resident of Hampton Park, which is not too far from you, and have been involved in our community for some time now, for the last several years. I have worked tirelessly with our children in our community, and as well as been involved in other organizations, which has availed me the opportunity to work complaints from our students' perspective, from our parents and from our teachers. I currently serve on your Chesterfield County Schools Equity Committee. This is my third year. As well as, cover my degrees. I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in Therapeutic Recreation and a Master's in Healthcare Administration. I'm a state government employee with the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, which I am a policy review specialist. I think that in itself brings a lot of, it will be an asset to your board, being that I have a mental health and an intellectual disability background. So I know about trauma informed. I know about the waivers and how that process works. And I also have contact with state government offices to get you the supports that you need without any cost. I know we like to hear that. I have partnered with other schools by having a back-to-school supply drive for a school that was outside of our district, but it was because of the need. And to also support our teachers and the families at that school. I do look forward to continue to serve. I feel like I will be able to bring my community involvement and my engagement with children will bring a perspective that will definitely be imperative in making informed board decisions. Thank you so much for having me tonight, and I look forward to the Q&A. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Carroll. I'm the Republican candidate running for the Board of Supervisors for the Matoaca District. I want to say thank you for putting this together, Joe, and thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I know you have a lot of other things you could be doing with your kids than being here listening to us. I'm a retired sergeant with the Chesterfield County Police Department. In 1986, I was fortunate enough to be offered a job here. I moved here from Rhode Island, where I grew up. I worked all different assignments throughout the police department. I was a uniform operations supervisor, where I actually supervised all of the police officers out here on evening shift that worked in this area. I've lived in Matoaca my almost the entire 33 years I've been here. I've lived in Deer Run for 15 years, and now I live in a house down off of Nash Road. When I retired last year, the county hired me back to teach, so I worked for the police department again as a firearms instructor. I teach constitutional law and interrogation. I've been a lobbyist for the Fraternal Order of Police of Virginia for the last 12 years as a volunteer position, the state lodge president of the Fraternal Order of Police for the Commonwealth of Virginia. and the local lodge president of the Fraternal Order of Police for the last 18 years. So I have a lot of experience working not just as a supervisor here in Chesterfield County, but also at the state level with legislators, with the governor, lieutenant governor, and members of Congress. So I have contacts all across, not just in the state government, but the local governments as well. And I love Chesterfield County. Everything I have in my life, I owe to Chesterfield. I'm a Chesterfield, shop Chesterfield type person. You know, if it wasn't for the taxpayers here, I wouldn't have had a job. My life has been all about service to the community. As the president of the FOP, we have a local program that we do. It's called our Christmas with a Cop program. We take on the privileged children shopping every year. We spend $150 so they get clothes and toys that they wouldn't get at Christmas. We have a Title I school program where we provide school supplies or book bags every year. This year we did it in Ettrick, but we've done it in all the different Title I schools all across Chesterfield. So I've been involved in the community, not just in the volunteer capacity, but also as keeping me safe. I worked on the most egregious homicide cases over the years that have happened in our community. So I love Chesterfield County. I want to continue to serve you, and that's my run for the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you to the PTA for having this forum for us. My name is Ryan Harder. I know some of you because I live right down the street here. My wife Megan and I have 4 children, and who all attend Chesterfield County schools. My daughter Savannah is a 3rd grader here in the school. We have 2 kids that are at Bailey Bridge, and we have a high school over at Cosmo. So all the same issues that you feel, the frustration with transportation, the frustrations with traffic, picking our kids up here, I feel it too, okay? I was a teacher here in the county. Prior to that, I was in the Air Force. My wife Meg was also in the Air Force, and we traveled around. While I was in the Air Force, I taught military police academy for 4 years. Then I taught civics and economics. Once I left the military, we came back to Chesterfield County, and I got into teaching public schools. So currently, I'm going to keep this real short because everyone else already went, and I figure we'll just get on with the questions. But I want to represent you guys because I feel the pains that you guys have. I see the frustrations. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to give it 110% to work with whoever's on the Board of Supervisors to fix these problems because they are issues. Okay, Chesterfield County schools are good. If you take a look at school systems around the state, we are one of the better schools, but we have areas that we can improve in. And that's what I plan to do over the next 4 years, is work with you, work with our teachers, our principals, and our elected officials, okay, to improve our schools from where they're at now. Thank you.
All right, so our cadence for tonight will be alternating between questions for our school board candidates and questions for the Board of Supervisors. Now, there are obviously some topics that have overlap, and so for the list of questions we provided, some of those are on both, because we want to hear from everybody who may be representing our area. The first question starts with our school board candidates, and it's a calendar question. That question is, what is your position on the school year starting before Labor Day? And then in addition to that, we've discussed year-round schools being tested as well as new start times that have recently gone into effect. Give us some perspective on how that falls with you, and if given the opportunity to lead, what changes would you like to see made?
You pick for whoever you want to
So to answer your first question, I believe it was pertaining to school start times. Is that correct? Okay. I was not in agreement with the school start time. That changed, I think it was probably about a year or 2 ago. I think it really caused, it was at a time in which there was a lot of transition at one time. And it was not the appropriate time to change the school start time. because you had a change in administration with the new transportation director coming on board. And with them learning our transportation process, how our system works, I would not recommend changing something as large as our school district is a school start time. I do feel as though it is very important that we receive feedback from our parents as well as from our teachers. Prior to making such a significant change such as that, it actually built onto this ongoing transportation problem. So had we took more time to assess, to plan prior to implementation, I think those are the steps I will take. Well, I know those are the steps that I would take prior to making any significant changes such as that. And that's all I have on that note. Next question. The year-round schools.
I tell you what, I think I ran two questions together, which complicated things a little bit. Why don't we address the start times and then we'll come back.
I'll just talk about all three of them really quick. So the school start times, it's a disaster that we're still feeling this year. As a teacher, I know that there was some studies behind changing the school start times, depending on what time students are better focused in learning. However, it did create a lot of problems. And one of the problems is the bus routes. Okay, changing the start times created 17 additional routes that we did not have the manual for. Okay. Bus driver shortages are nothing new to Chesterfield County, okay, but this just really magnified the problem. And what we need to take a look at is, now that we're already into this situation with transportation, we need to take a look at how we can try to fix it with what we have right now. As far as the schools starting before Labor Day, I know that was one of the questions. The Virginia legislature passed a law saying that we could now start schools before Labor Day. That's great that we have the opportunity now to do that if we would so choose to do so. But I think that it's important that to change what we're already doing, that we have feedback from the parents, from the community, from the teachers, okay? To make sure that if we were to change them, that we have the majority support to do so, and that it would be beneficial. And then also the third thing that I believe was on the third question was talking about year-round school. They started this 2 years ago at, I believe it was Bellwood Elementary. And this year they moved it into Fallen Creek Middle School. It's too early to really see what the data shows, if there's big improvements in student achievement or not. I think it's too early for us to really make a determination on that. That's a process that we need to go ahead and watch for probably the next couple of years, take a look at that data, and then put the decision out to the community.
My perspective on year-round schools would be contingent upon how a pilot program perhaps would work. We have a school that will be piloting this program, like Ryan said, looking at some data. I do feel as though year-round schools can be very beneficial in several different ways. One, it could allow our teachers to have get paid year-round without having to gain a part-time job or employment during the summer. You would also have the opportunity to have more breaks as opposed to your regular school year. That's another benefit and a plus. It would also benefit our low-income families in many different ways. It has its pluses. I think it is something that I'm open to trying new things, being innovative. You don't ever know until you've tried it. But again, it's one of those areas that we should evaluate data as well as get feedback from our families and see how it works. But do know there are some positive gains from having a school start time, and it also assists with the discipline as well with our students. I think that it is something that Chesterfield County Schools can look into, and it may be the way to go. Thank you.
Follow up?
No, I think I addressed it. Does anyone have any questions on any further questions they can answer? On the particular topic, school start times, starting before Labor Day.
I have a question. We're going to do another question. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
My fault.
This question is to the Board of Supervisors, Kenny, for you. The question is, how will you help address the transportation issues we currently have? And then secondly, do you have a plan for improving funding for our school transportation?
I stand, so forgive me for that. And if you see me fanning, the women understand this. I have these private summers that just come over me, so explain it to your husbands on the way home. But in reference to transportation, first of all, we have to identify the cause of the issue. And this is something that's across the Matoaca district. The overdevelopment, having more development than resources. And we're playing catch up versus being proactive, we are being reactive. And that is unfair, but it's a situation that we have to find the short term and the long term, because we just can't ignore the fact that there is excessive overdevelopment. So we have to be conscientious in how we handle that, but really provide balance. When an applicant presents his request to the board, like really analyze that and see how it impacts our neighborhoods, how will it impact our schools, how will it impact if we need more firehouses or if we need more law enforcement. Get the data, get the information at the beginning, and then put the onus on the applicant as we have the data to see how we can bring better balance. But right now, in the transportation issues, because Matoaca district is so huge, but it's very diverse. So one size does not fit all. So the issues that you may face on the western part are going to be totally different from the issues on the southern part. And so just being very mindful that as we approach it, one size does not fit all. And in reference to the funding piece, whenever I hear a funding question, I always want to start the basics. What do we have first? And how are we spending it? And what can we do better with that? And when you're dealing with, yes ma'am, my time is up.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
So when you're dealing with funding, I think it's always key to assess where you are. Assess where you are, assess all of our funding sources, and then go from there. But never be afraid to consult and confer with others. Just be data driven. Thank you.
So in reference to the transportation question, is that specifically for the busing issue or just general for the entire county and transportation?
It's twofold. It's to address transportation and funding for transportation.
Okay, so we're talking about buses too, that's fine. So, absolutely correct that we have a transportation problem in Chesterfield County. We had a school change that took place, and they didn't take into consideration what it was going to do to the busing routes. So we need to work closely with the bigger picture here. The bigger picture is not just with the school board. This is very important to work with the school board. It's also important to work with the development communities because there is a problem with our process when you talk about development. And I've been saying it for years. If you go and look now at any development plan, you're going to see a couple of things that are on there that talk about schools. You're going to see a recommendation that talks about the fire department. There's nothing in there about how it affects public safety or the police department. So the county has a process where these things are looked at holistically as they go through there, and they're not looking that way. So we need to do better on that. And yes, we have an infrastructure problem which affects the ability for the buses to travel down the roads to get to pick up the kids. If we have bad roads, which we have, that need to be fixed, we have to fix the roads. It makes it easier for the buses to travel down them without bumping mirrors because they're past each other. The funding piece, yeah, we have the money in Chesterfield County. It's just a matter of making it a priority. That's what it boils down to. You have to look at the budget and make things a priority. And if the priority is that we have to hire more bus drivers, then we got to hire more bus drivers. The problem is finding them when you're, I see it, when you're, I broke that. When your unemployment is only at 2.9%, it's hard to find people to come work. Thank you.
For our school board candidates, short question, will you help eliminate Winterpock's overcrowding issues?
So yes, so the overcrowding is a problem. If you take a look at the numbers across the county, especially for elementary schools, we're at about 128%. Okay, that is ridiculous. We've all seen the trailers come in this year. It's not something that we wanted to. So there's pretty much two ways that we can take a look at this to reduce it. We know that the school over in Magnolia Green is going to be built, but not until 2022. Most of our kids will already be through here. But it's also about what we're going to leave for the kids after us. So one of the solutions is that we do some minor redistricting in some different areas and look, because some of the schools are only at 90%, some of them are only at 80% capacity. Especially when you talk about Alberta Smith, Spring Run Elementary, Clover Hill Elementary across the road. Grange Hall is at max capacity. They're at about 102%. But we're really over here. And there's a lot of things that feed into that. Center-based gifted program that's here feeds into that. Some different ways, things that we could take a look at is waivers. How many waivers do we approve coming in and out for, and that's a principal and assistant principal decision for them to make. But the short answer is that we really have two options, and it is redistricting, or we just kind of have to wait it out with the trailers. And either one of those answers is something I don't want to hear, and I know it's something that you don't want to hear, but it's the reality. It's the reality of what we have to do.